Welcome back to Bash Bros, episode 80 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, the TEW Let's Play series, where we find out what exactly would happen if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling promotion. There's not much to talk about in terms of news, maybe one little bit for Rev Pro, so we will go over what happened last time with the Braveheart pay-per-view. We will delve into that little bit of news, and then we will finally look at the storylines going forward for the next couple of months. So we scored a 68 for the Braveheart pay-per-view. Not a bad show, but disappointing considering how our previous pay-per-views have went. So maybe a wee bit disappointing due to the fact that Pac and Pentagon didn't really click during the main event. However, a strong match halfway through with Ray versus Sonico for a 70. Now on to the news I discussed earlier, and that is that Luke Jacobs, one of the members of our Rev Pro roster, is injured. Chronic lower back pain. I have not been onto the Rev Pro side of things to see how bad that is, but chronic usually means it's going to be a while. Let's move on to storylines then. So we'll go from the bottom to the top, and a new storyline starting up this month with Jay Lethal versus Will Hobbs. So Jay Lethal needs more TV time. His heel turn has been great. He is one of our best performers in terms of in-ring and in terms of on the mic. So his kind of theme going forward is he wants some muscle. So he's going to try recruit Will Hobbs and some other people. People say no. But this ultimately will actually lead to Will Hobbs dropping down to Rev Pro for two reasons. One, he is very much a mid-carder at this point. let's be honest. It sucks to say, but he is. So he will go down the Rev Pro. I think he will be a good member for the heavyweight division down there. And on top of that, Carlos Romo is currently feuding with the Notorious. So an extra, it kind of ties in nicely that they're kind of friendly now. After splitting away from Ace Austin, they can then partner together to fight the Notorious down in Rev Pro. Maybe not the longest feud, probably only a month or two in this one. Oh yes, it's finally happening. The Dynasty split up. So I kind of decided what everyone is going to do with this. Dynasty will remain as a faction, but members will leave. So how is this going to go? Davey Boy and Natalia and Zia are going to turn face, leading to Davey Boy joining with the British Wrestling Embassy. And then Natalia is going with him just because they have good chemistry as management. I don't think she's a great fit for the British Wrestling Embassy, but I'm willing to make that sacrifice just to keep that good chemistry. Zia then will go down to Rev Pro. She's just not at a level where she should be on the main roster. She is as good as Debbie Keitel, and Debbie Keitel is about a 40, so is Zia. She can get up to 50 on a good day, but I think moving Zia down to Rev Pro is probably the best shout, and she can develop down there and maybe come back one day. CCK versus Filthy Generation. This is the last month now that everyone is the right disposition. Like was Jim turned face 2 weeks ago, and we're going to have one final match at the next pay-per-view. 3-on-3 Filthy Generation versus CCK, with CCK winning, obviously. Ace Austin versus Mark Haskins. That will now probably go another month or so on it, with the introduction of Kip Sabian, who's going to try and seduce their respective valets. So this will probably end in a three-way between the men. And I don't think I'm going to have any of the valets join Kip. I don't think so. We'll say no. We'll say no at the minute. But it could be a good opportunity to introduce a new either manager for Kip or bring up someone, not even just a manager, but an actual women's roster member from Rev Pro. So we'll see. I haven't really decided. I just know Kip is a good fit for that feud. Crazy Mary Dobson then is facing Maki Ito for the Women's Championship. Just seems like the most natural thing to do. Crazy Mary Dobson is probably our top heel women's roster member next to Tessa. And Mad Marty Quinn is just on the cusp of returning, so that will play a factor in this as well. With Crazy Mary Dobson actually turning back face, so she will. Aussie Open have then been added to the Embassy versus the Prestige. I did say previously that the Grizzled Young Vets were going to be the next challengers. They won't win it right away, but they probably will be the next winners of it to be the first 2-time champs. But that won't be until kind of the Prestige. Yes, that's what they're going to be called, the Prestige. They were originally called the Gold Hunters, and I didn't like that. So now they'll be called the Prestige, as in the prestige of British wrestling. Yeah, but they won't win the titles until all of the Prestige, including Iestyn Rees, are all on the same page. Plus, it'll give the Billington Bulldogs, who are part of the Embassy, a chance to see where they're at. I think I'm going to give them a title shot on a Wanted, due to the fact they beat the Prestige at the pay-per-view, or was it a Wanted previously? So yeah, I'm going to give them a title shot. Rey Fenix versus Sonico, this will go on for one more month and end at the Frostbite pay-per-view, because Sonico will be a part of the P12 for 2023, as we are going to crown a mid-card champion. I haven't decided on all 12 members of the P12 for 2023, but I definitely going to be a mid-card championship, I think. My plan for the mid-card championship is to kind of make it like a workhorse, so like the likes of Rey Fenix and also Jonathan Gresham, like guys who are great in ring but not too great on the mic. It's going to be their championship, the Bret Hart of championships. And Grado's Desperation, this is going to kind of end. I have plans for Grado, which will take place at the pay-per-view. This will then change into maybe, I think I actually call it Connor's Desperation, as he's just going to start throwing the kitchen sink at Pac to try and get the title off him. So that's kind of the plan. Pac is a little bit crazy. But Grado's Desperation will so wrap up this month, and then it'll morph into Connor's Desperation, which will have like another 3 or 4 months on it, I think. So, okay, so that is the storylines out of the way. That is also the news and what you have missed, or what happened last time, out of the way. So let's book the show, shall we? And we are back, coming at you from Cathy's Bingo Hall in Wales. It is Notorious Pro Wrestling's Wanted. So the show itself was pretty easy to book, maybe a bit of an issue with too many promos, as I had to drop one onto the pre-show I wasn't intending to. But yes, we have the debut, or the official naming of the new faction with Nick Aldis, the Grizzled Young Vets, and kind of Iestyn Rees at the minute, with the Prestige. So let's do it, shall we? Backstage promo and Jen interviews. They're not the Prestige yet, but we'll call them it, the Prestige. And Nick Aldis says he hoped it wouldn't come to this, but he will have to beat Rees until he learns his place in the group. 56 rated segment. In another pre-show backstage promo, a debuting Kip Sabian flirts with Jen before he goes to get ready for his debut match tonight. 54, which is good. I wasn't sure what to expect from Kip, but that's pretty good. And in our pre-show match, Maki, Maiko and Riho defeated Gia, Nicole and Raven in a 6-woman tag. Riho got a 46, Maiko a 62, Maki a 55, Raven a 38, Nicole a 48 and Gia a 39. 54 rated segment overall. Then onto the main show. Pac comes out and he finally speaks. If you've been paying attention, you will realise that Pac hasn't actually said a word yet. Every time Jen has tried to interview him, someone interrupts. First it was Kenny Williams, then it was Jake the Snake. So finally Pac speaks. He holds up the belt and says, "You thought I was a bastard before, you haven't seen anything yet." Grado interrupts, says he won the Braveheart Battle Royal, so he gets a shot at Pac and the title. Grado says he brought Pac into this company by mistake, so it's up to him to take him out of NPW. So their match at the pay-per-view will not only be for the title, but it will be a loser leaves town match too. After this is said, lights out, and Sonico appears in the ring and attacks Pac for assaulting Jake the Snake with a chair at the pay-per-view. Rey Fenix then runs out and attacks Sonico, and it's all just one big massive fucking clusterfuck. As Grado just kind of stands there. He can dance. Grado likes to dance. Grado can dance. 62 rated segment, which is great. Next up in a triple threat tag match for the number 1 contendership for the tag titles, Dynasty defeated Kings of the North and the NIC. When Davey Boy pinned Damien Corbin with a Bulldog Bomb. Davey had a 60, Joe had a 57, Damien had a 53, Bones had a 61, Charlie had a 50, Oshin had a 55. and a bunch of tag bonuses for everyone involved. 59 overall is pretty good. I'm happy enough with that. So yes, Dynasty get the number 1 contendership match, and then they'll get a shot at the pay-per-view, and then that will be the beginning of the end. Next up, in a backstage angle, the Haskins are furious that Love and Ace went back on their word. But the heels are like, you know what, you guys were just too dumb to think to do it yourselves. The Haskins get the last laugh, as they said. They've spoken to Conor McGregor, and next week it'll be a cage match between Ace Austin and Mark Haskins. 61 rated segment. Next up in his debut match, Kip Sabian defeated Dean Allmark in 9:36 with a springboard dropkick. Really? That's his finisher? Dean had a 54, Kip had a 61. I like that, and they had good chemistry. 61 rated match, which is good. That's really good for a 10-minute match and a squash match. That's a lot better than I thought. Kip could actually be a lot more of an asset than I thought, I'll not lie. Next up, backstage after their win, Dynasty are celebrating when Tessa tells them this is their last shot. Do not screw this up. Zia goes to say something to stand up for Davey and Joe, but Natalie quietly, subtly tells her to no, just leave it. 54 rated segment. Next up, Nick Aldis defeats Iestyn Rees in 9:33 with the Tormentum in a 54 rated segment. Rees had a 48 and Nick had a 59. That's why Iestyn Rees is the mid-card guy. Yeah, that's why that is. Post-match then, Nick Aldis and the Grizzled Young Vets standing over a fallen Iestyn Rees claim this is what happens whenever you cross the prestige of professional wrestling. So they are officially crowned the prestige. I really like this 4. I know Iestyn Rees is kind of not fully in there yet, as he's being a bit of a dick to the rest of them, but you know, these 4 as like the British Horsemen is a really cool idea, I think. You know, you could have, they all look good in suits, you know, they're all kind of well built. Yeah, I think these guys, this could be a really good faction going forward. And in our main event, in an exceptional match, Pac defeated Sonico in 17:35 with a brutalizer. Pac had an 83! Pac had an 83. What the fuck? Mental. And Sonico had a 62. They have great chemistry together. And also Sonico got a boost from Jake. 76. Wow. Fucking wow. That is... Yep. Just yep. 71 overall. We were just lacking that one killer promo to help kind of boost that or keep that high. But still, 71's a great show. 83, what the hell? So guys, that is it. There's no news to discuss coming out of the show. So, as always, if you liked this episode, leave a like. And also subscribe to the channel for many other great shows from me and the rest of the Bash Bros. Next time you guys will be back will probably be the Frostbite pay-per-view. I don't think I have anything else planned in between then. I don't think I do. But yes, we will have... What will we have then? Yes, the reason we're coming back is we will have the results of the Loser Leaves Town match. And the repercussions that will come with that. Not just to NPW, but also Rev Pro. It will have a knock-on effect to Rev Pro. If you have any ideas for feuds, storylines, title changes, tag teams, you name it, put it in the comments and I will try book it for you. All that being said, I will see you next time on Bash Bros.